This is R2G Rally Radio. For the latest in on-event rally news.
And day 2, Silver Fern Rally 2024 at the service break or lunch break here in Kuma, Westland, South Island, New Zealand, obviously. Tony Jardine, you're still looking like in fine, fit shape. Is everything going well?
It's going well, and the car's been cleaned off as well, so that's good. But the rally's changed a bit of complexion, and we've been enjoying some different. I don't know the name. I think it was Pig Saddleback, something like that. It reminded me a bit of Wales, but it was tight and twisty, had hairpins. And then there was a stage by Lake Linden, which was phenomenal, because of this azure blue water on the left and then dust going across it. The notes obviously said lots of cautions because you didn't want to go off into the water. But then there was a drive westwards across Arthur's Pass, snow-capped mountains. I kept wanting to stop and take pictures, and the guy said, no, we're against the clock, so we've got to keep going. You know, and vineyards, just classic South Island, New Zealand, absolutely beautiful. That was as stunning as the rally itself, and for a lot of the overseas guys as well, I know that would have been a big treat.
I guess that's something that as a Kiwi or New Zealand resident, we're a bit blasé about. You've seen the classic East Coast, where we came from this morning in Christchurch, to the West Coast, completely different road characteristics, and obviously the scenery too, which it seems you're taking the time to take in.
Look, I think we were lucky. There was a long road section, like 2.5 hours or whatever it was, where we were able to soak in, but we still had to keep up a good pace. But you could just notice the topography changing, and in parts it was really, really lush, and then you got these very quite severe hills. I'm looking around thinking, oh my god, it was really, really nice. So it can be a distraction until you get on the stage, but it's just part of the magnetism of the whole event. Lots of us love New Zealand anyway, but particularly the South Island, and this just reinforces my views.
Excellent, thank you. Midway through the second day, still a long way to go, and look forward to seeing you at the end of the day.
Thank you very much.
Marion Evans, you're looking quite comfortable there on the grass, but this event hasn't really all gone your way, even though you're taking a little bit of time out.
Yes, that's correct. I haven't done probably gravel for 3-4 years, even back home, because I'm more of a tarmac kind of person. So yeah, I started off quite slow, really, to be honest, because the sensation of driving on gravel in New Zealand is a little bit different to back home. But yeah, we're getting into it a little bit. But then on stage 3, we snapped something in the gearbox, which we don't really know what it is. We haven't opened the gearbox or anything yet, but we did snap something in there which put us out for a while. So yeah, we put a new gearbox and a couple of things, and yeah, trouble is now there's nothing much to fight for, really. So yeah, we're just going to enjoy the rest of the week. Yeah, and try and we're just doing a few tweaks to the car, really, to see if we can afford to do that now, because we've got nothing to fight for. So we're just going to do a few tweaks to the car to see if we can, I don't know, try and get it to work a bit better and try and improve it, try and make some progress with it. Even though there's not much you can do to an S-Sport, but we're going to try a bit more camber and just different things, and see how we get on for the rest of the week, and just try and gain a bit more experience over here. And definitely, look forward to coming back in a couple of years' time. But I'm considering leaving the car here in New Zealand, because I'm done with this car now. Really, this car's done its work for me, so the car will be sold. So we'll build another car now, go back home and bring another car in a couple of years' time. So I may leave it. I'm not sure yet. We'll do some research and talk to a few guys that I know, see whether it's worth leaving it here or not. But the problem is to leave it here and for me to come over, 2-3 times a year, it's too far. It's way too far. So yeah, we may look at importing this and getting it left here. Getting it ready for a couple of years' time to do, for me, one of the best rallies, if not the best rally on the planet.
Oh, big words. Thank you, Marion. We look forward to asking some questions later about how these changes are planning out. Some magnificent R&D opportunities ahead.
Definitely. I've never been over on the West Coast before. I was in the South Island 3-4 times, but I've never been over this side. So it'll be interesting to see what the terrain is like and see if we enjoy it.
You're in for a treat. Talk to you a bit later on.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Top thing.
Dean Buist, it's been obviously it's always interesting with an event like this. People come and go, but steady as she goes for you at the moment.
Yeah, just trying to keep out of trouble. I had a rock in this first stage this morning and broke a wheel. Didn't lose any time, but I thought I might have had a puncher, so I've just sort of tried to like Lyndon keep away from them. So yeah, and because you won't catch the guy in front. You might do a time similar to his, but you're not going to carry in a minute without him having problems. So you just got to try and keep ahead of the two behind you, or 22 or 52, or however many there is.
You've also got to wonder how much the Kiwi advantage can come your way. Particularly, these roads this afternoon very well. Some of these internationals, not so much. One puncture and it's very different.
Oh, and that's the thing, it can change. And I mean, these are the stages that we know the best. The ones at Christchurch, we haven't really done that way for a long time, So, if you can't beat them here, you're not going to beat them. But you're not going to beat them and catch them, so, yeah.
You've got to stay with it. All right, thank you very much. We'll talk to you at the end of the day.
Right.
Neil Shanks, co-driver for James Ford. Look, the pace is red hot up the front. Obviously, you've got a bit happening with the car right now.
Yeah, we've had a handling issue that's kind of been manifesting itself the whole rally. We've been chewing the front left tyre basically since the start of the event. So we're trying here. We're going to stick a corner on it and just try and eliminate everything. Rather than trying to find it part by part, we'll put everything on and we'll see how we go on then. It's not affecting us too much, but it's on right-handers the car certainly doesn't want to turn in as well as it does on left-handers. It's just pushing the nose on, so it's just something you have to drive with in your mind.
Just imagine what you'd be doing if it was all 100%.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, with a good start yesterday, it was a tactic to go hard early. Maybe sounds strange for a 7-day rally, but the plan was to try and catch people napping, and it worked. We pushed on the first stage and maybe took a couple of risks, but we talked about it before and decided that was the way we were going to attack it. So yeah, it worked. We've probably kind of backed off a little bit since kind of lunchtime service yesterday. We're on a more comfortable pace now. But I mean, it's just fantastic. The roads are so good. I mean, the stages this morning have been brilliant. Okay, most of them have only been short, but really, really lovely roads. That's why we come here.
Well, you've got the West Coast New Zealand roads, which is, for a lot of the Kiwis here, very unique, something they're not very used to. So enjoy. We'll see you later on this evening.
Thank you. Cheers.
Welcome to your 2 o'clock update after the morning stages on day 2, Sunday, of the Silver Fern Rally for 2024, and pretty much steady as she goes. Some really good competition going on at the front of each of the various sections that make up this edition of the Silver Fern, and we can report that the cars are now all starting to arrive at the Kumara lunch service, having made it over to the West Coast. And we have James Ford still leading the two-wheel drive historic trophy. He's now extended his lead with 2 stage wins, a third and a second on the 4 shortish stages that have been run this morning. They've done 21 minutes worth of competition across the 4 stages in the foothills of the Southern Alps around Springfield and Sheffield this morning, and now tracked through Arthur's Pass over to Kumara, touring, I might add. Marcus van Klink has won 2 of the stages, the 2 that James Ford and Neil Shanks haven't managed to, and they are just 0.9 of a second behind James Ford and across those 4 stages today for the leg. Dean Buist is third quickest so far. He is 12 seconds down on Marcus van Klink across those 4 stages with 3/3 and a second. And Nathan Quinn, the other driver to get into a stage podium result by going second quickest on stage 11. So the overall classifications now, and the other perhaps key news this morning is, unfortunately, we've lost Andy Martin and Matt Hayward in the PRG run Ford Escort, they've stopped 6k into stage 12, the run around Lake Linden, reporting no obvious damage. The quote that the sweeper has told us that Andy made when he asked what went wrong, it just stopped, apparently, was Andy Martin or Matt's comment when asked. So hopefully they've indicated they are a temporary withdrawal. So hopefully Hayden and his crew will be able to get the car repaired and back underway to rejoin in due course. But at this stage, that's our only significant retirement today. William Midgley, car 35, heavily delayed in stage 12. The leading cars won that stage in 8 minutes or thereabouts. Well, Midgley, unfortunately, in his Corolla, took over 33 minutes to get through the stage. So some serious delay for him, but he has made it out and appears to be touring towards Kumara service as we speak. So the upshot of all of that now is that James Ford, as you would expect, still leads the two-wheel drive historic trophy classification, now out to a 1 minute 25.3 lead over Dean Buist in his Ford Escort. Marcus van Klink is leading the Mazda battle. His RX-7 is 29 seconds down on Dean Buist and now 21.6 clear of Nathan Quinn in the RX2 from Australia, of course. Robbie Stokes has just headed off Jeff Judd with a good time in stage 12. He is now 2 minutes 29.6 behind Nathan Quinn, but 5.8 in front of Jeff Judd in his Magnum Run Ford Escort. Chris Rosenberger, our Austrian visitor in the Tuttle Porsche 911, is in 7th place. I think he had a very good stage result earlier on today. I'll just quickly have a check on that. I think he placed... where's Mr. Rosenberger gone? He is up here. He set a 4th fastest time on stage 11. So good result for the Porsche. Obviously good country for that one there. Robert Goff, car 29, our highest seeded driver, is doing the best of has car 29 in the seeding list. He's 8th overall at 36.2 behind Rosenberger, who is 38.2 behind Jeff Judd. Sorry about that. Roger Chilman, another UK visitor, another Ford Escort, car number 9. He is in 9th place, 8 seconds down on Robert Goff. And then we go back a minute 9 now, a minute 9.1 to Shane Merland, who lost a couple of minutes in stage 10, I think it was this morning, with an unknown. We haven't found out the reason why. But he did place 39th when he's done 6th, 8th and 9th on the other 3 stages so far today. So Shane Merlin, a little bit of a glitch there. So he is completes the top 10 as it stands in the moment. Bonamy Grimes has just got ahead of the Lancia Stratos of Philip Kaduri to grab 11th place, 0.8 of a second, the advantage Grimes has there. So Kaduri is now 12th. 13th is Charlie Evans, who unfortunately lost comms with during the afternoon yesterday. Hence, he was given some assessed times or target times, default times earlier on. But we've been able to retrieve that information from the Rally Safe unit, and we now have him fully up to date with his time. So Charlie Evans in the RX-7 is in 13th overall, 24 seconds behind the Lancia Stratos. Alan Dippy in the other Porsche is... in fact, the battle of the second and third Porsches is 38 seconds behind Charlie Evans, and then it's a minute 15 back to Evgeny Karev in his Tuttle Porsche in 15th overall. He's just got ahead, I think, taken over because Andy Martin has dropped out, climbed up to 15th now. Daniel Alonso from Spain is next, is 16th at 32.6 seconds down. Then Richard Spink from the UK, 17.7 down in his RS 1800 Escort. Merv Hatcher in the Mitsubishi Starion is 18th, 8.4 behind Spink, and then it's 14.9 to Andrew Siddle in his Escort, and then Grant Shand completes the top 20 in his Ford Escort, just 5.7 behind Andrew Siddle. To complete the rest of the runners, Peter Sharmack is 21st, Brandon James 22nd, Ken McDonald is in the Escort is 23rd, Scott O'Donnell in the Mazda RX-3 24th, 25th is Ian Dobson in the Mark 1 Escort, 26th is Julian Burley in the Talbot Lotus Sunbeam. Greenie is next, 27th in his Escort. Then comes Steve Cox and Laurie Brensel in the Toyota Starlet, 28th, leading their Class A. David Young leads Class B in car 39, his Escort Mexico. And then comes Chris Ford and his escort in 30th overall. Keith Stewart is 31st. Tony Jardine 32nd. Ben Howlett in the Avenger is 33rd. And then we have Andy Martin, of course, because we give a target time for a missed stage. So he is in the overall classification still, but now at 34th, having dropped 19 places. Bruce Farley, one of our rejoins, car 18, the Datsun B510, is 35th overall. Ali Mackay, another rejoin. So obviously these guys have got quite a lot of target time added to their overall stage performances. He's 36th. That's car number 8, his Mark 1 escort. Then William Midgley, we mentioned with his delay in that stage earlier today, stage 12. And then Marion Evans, another rejoin, of course, from early yesterday, is in 38th. And Joshua Hilton and his Celica completes the field there in 39th place. Unfortunately, car 17, Darren Snooks, in his Datsun Stanza, has succumbed to mechanical issues and is a permanent withdrawal from the rally. So I guess, unfortunately, that's a long way to come to disappear on the first day of the Silver Fern Rally. So moving on to the two-wheel drive challenge. Again, Chris Ramsey continues to dominate there, although Dave Strong has won 2 of the stages so far today. In fact, Strong and Ramsey are 2 wins and 2 seconds each as it stands at the moment, with a margin of 10 seconds, 10.4 seconds over those 4 stages in Dave Strong and Rob Scott's favour in the Honda Jazz. So far today, Phil Thomas, the 3rd quickest in his Mark II Escort over those 4 stages so far today. So the current standings there, Chris Ramsey in the Corolla continues to lead over Carl Celeste in his Toyota Levin by 2 minutes 28.6. Richard Galley from Australia in his BMW E30. In fact, there's no positional changes so far today with Richard Galley in his BMW 1 minute 50.7 behind Carl Celeste. Then it's 19.3 back to Phil Thomas from Thailand. Austin Jones, an incident off the road at one point, but no damage in the front-wheel drive Subaru Impreza. Never quite sure whether it's he or Kingsley driving, so we can't apportion blame specifically, although I do understand that particular one required Kingsley to get out of the car to try and get it back on, or to successfully get it back on the road, and they made it safely out of the stage. So they're 5th overall, 1 minute 7 down on Phil Thomas. Then Daniel Alexander with Waverley Jones, of course, co-driving there. They also understeered off on the same stage. So I think it was stage 10 it was. Not a good stage for the Joneses, but they've made it out okay. It's still going. So Daniel Alexander 6th at 3 minutes 32 behind the Joneses. Dave Strong has in fact climbed up the leaderboard today with those good set of performances. He's got the Honda Jazz RS up to 7th place now, minute 12 down on Daniel Alexander. So he's got in front of Chris Padden in the Levin AE 101 and has now got a 2 minute 50 advantage over the Padden car. Michael Ward, car 52, in his Toyota Levin is 2 minutes 8 behind Padden, and then Ed Mulligan in his BMW E30 is 10th, 28 seconds behind Ward. And then we go to Andrew Lowe in his Corolla, who's the first car on the road for most of the day today so far. He is 8 minutes down on Ed Mulligan. And then Brian Van Eek in his Altezza rejoin, he is way down the order, an hour and 15 minutes behind Andrew Lowe, but still running in 12th place. So no retirements from that particular field, no permanent retirements so far. In the Silver Fron, the 4 cars still running there today. Car 56, Stephen Gill, has been doing very well with stage times. He's now second to Keith Hamilton in the Subaru GC8, with by 48.4 seconds to Stephen Gill in his Ford Escort. Kerry Sloan in the Toyota Starlet is 4 minutes 48 further back, and Peter Light in his Ford Escort is a further similar amount, 4 minutes 45 down on Kerry Sloan as they head to the service at Kumara. As far as the mainland 2-day rally goes, we've got again, no retirements there as such. James Worker continues to lead the rally. His margin over Josh Keeley is now 38.1 seconds. I think there's been a few stage wins go but split between Worker and Keeley so far today. Also, Dylan Thompson was very much back on the pace, had climbed ahead of David Clearwater to grab 3rd after the first couple of stages, but Clearwater has hit back and now the margin between for third place between David Clearwater and Dylan Thompson is 9.2 seconds. So just to summarise that, James Worker continues to lead in the Evo 6, 38.1 ahead of Josh Keeley in the Subaru Magnum H6. David Clearwater now a little bit of daylight. The Evo 4 is, he's at 1 minute 2 behind Keeley, but he's 9.2 ahead of Dylan Thompson, of course, who's in the Ford Fiesta 2.3 this weekend. Amy Keeley and her Magnum H6 is next, 4 minutes 40 further back. And then there's some big gaps with Rory Lawn and his Starlet leading Class B, 3 minutes 47 behind Amy. Another 2:42 back to Jamie Donaghy in his Corolla. In 7th place, then Adrian Jones and his Corolla FX GT, a minute 25 further back. And they are the three Class B, first, second and third at the moment. Mike Matheson, as usual, in the Toyota Vitz is leading Class A in 9th place, for 8 seconds behind Adrian Jones. Then we've got Nigel Eade in the Legacy, the leader in Class E at a minute 15 further back. And Nigel King, who did stop in stage 12 and lost some 4 minutes there in his Evo 1 Lancer. He is third in Class D and the final car classified in 11th place, now 50 seconds behind Nigel Eade. And as far as the Silver Fern four-wheel drive classic go, with 2 runners there, of course, Ben Hubin has clean swept the stages so far today, so he currently leads Tom Milliken by nearly 5 minutes as they head to Kumara now. So that pretty much wraps things up. The weather conditions very favourable today, some lovely views, scenic shots coming as the cars are touring through the over the Southern Alps through Arthur's Pass. So looks, and dust, we're told, is not an issue today. So it's becoming a very enjoyable day for most out there. And I guess we'll be back at 7 o'clock to give you a final wrap on the day's happenings. There's 5 stages to run this afternoon, including what will be the Westland Clubman's Rally. 8 cars running in that one, headed up by Graham Ferguson, Hayden Shakespeare running in that one, then Willie Hawes, the Silcock brothers, Eddie Gray, and Rex Forbes. Not quite sure about Pat Norris. His car still seems to be in Christchurch, so we might not well see Pat Norris this afternoon. Of course, this also doubles as the final round of the Mainland Series, so we'll bring you a wrap on that when we catch up again at 7 o'clock. So until then, this is Chris Grant from the Chris Sport Results Centre.